Here is something I want you to think about tonight. When was the last time you said no and just left it there? No apology. No long explanation. No, I'm sorry. It's just that. Filling in the silence afterward. For many of us, that kind of stillness is almost impossible. Hi, friends. Welcome back to English with Moon. Tonight, we're going to talk about something quiet, but surprisingly heavy. The habit of over-explaining ourselves and what it costs us. Notice how often you say things like this. I'm not coming to the party, but it's because I have so much work. And also, I've been really tired lately. And I've been trying to take care of myself more. And I know it might seem antisocial, but... Or I ordered the salad, not because I'm on a diet. I'm not actually on a diet. I just felt like it today. I usually eat other things. Or I know I should have called sooner. I just got busy. But I was thinking about you. I promise I wasn't being distant. We do this constantly. We add explanations where none were asked for. We preempt judgments that haven't even been made. We defend choices before anyone has attacked them. And the extraordinary thing is that we often don't notice we're doing it. The over-explanation comes automatically, reflexively, almost as if the no or the choice or the simple statement is incomplete without it. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we learned that our decisions were not safe without defense, that we needed justification to be accepted, that a simple no, clean and standalone, was not sufficient, that we owed people a reason every time for every choice. And so we pad our sentences with reasons and apologies and reassurances. We build the case. We deliver it. We watch their face for signs of approval. But here is the thing. No is a complete sentence. I've decided needs no further explanation. That's not for me is a full and finished answer. Over-explaining is not just exhausting. It carries a hidden cost. It costs energy, the mental effort of building the case before you've even finished the sentence. Reading the other person's face as you speak, adjusting mid-explanation, adding more, sensing it wasn't enough. The entire performance requires more from you than simply saying what is true. It costs authenticity, because when you're over-explaining, you are not really speaking. You are performing a version of yourself designed for approval. The real decision is buried somewhere in there, padded on all sides by things you said to make it more palatable. And it costs something quieter, which I think is the most important cost of all. Self-respect. Every time you preemptively defend a choice that no one questioned, you send yourself a message. My choices are not okay on their own. They need to be proven. I am not enough unless I can justify myself. And that message is not true. Your choices don't need to pass an approval process to be valid. You are not presenting evidence in a case about your own goodness. You are simply living your life. I want to be clear about something before we go further. Explaining yourself is not always wrong. Communication matters. In close relationships, in workplaces, in moments of genuine misunderstanding. Sharing your reasons builds connection and understanding. That is a good thing. But there are two very different reasons we explain ourselves. The first is love. You say, "I can't make it tonight, and I wanted you to know why, because our friendship matters to me, and I don't want you to wonder if something is wrong." That explanation is a gift. You are offering it. It comes from a place of care. The second is fear. You say, "I can't make it tonight. Please don't be angry at me. Please don't think less of me. Please still like me after this. Let me give you every reason I can think of so that you can see that I'm still a good person and I still care about you." That explanation is a plea. One is generous. The other is desperate. And the heartbreaking thing about explaining from fear is that it never actually protects you. If someone is going to judge you for your choices, no amount of explanation will change that. You will just be tired, and they will still judge. Pay attention to your body when you over-explain. There is often a tightness. A sentence that keeps going after it should have ended, adding more and more, because something inside doesn't believe the first version was enough. Whose voice is that, asking for more? Because very often, it isn't the other person's voice. It is yours. It is an old expectation, absorbed years ago, about who you need to be and what you need to say to deserve space and acceptance. That expectation can be questioned. It can be put down. I want to tell you about a woman named Clara. Clara was someone who said yes to almost everything. Not because she wanted to, not because she had unlimited energy or time or willingness, but because saying no required an explanation. And building the explanation, deciding how to frame it, anticipating their reaction, finding the right words to soften the refusal, was so exhausting and so anxiety-inducing that it was often easier to just say yes. So she attended events she didn't want to attend. She took on extra work that wasn't really hers. She stayed in conversations longer than was comfortable. She smiled through situations that made her deeply, quietly resentful, and then felt guilty about the resentment, because wasn't she choosing this? Yes, but she was choosing it to avoid a discomfort, not to say yes to the thing itself. For years, this was her pattern, until one day, a friend asked her to do something that was genuinely, unmistakably too much. Not too much for the friendship, for her, right now, in this period of her life. And for the first time, almost without planning it, she said, I can't do that. Just that. No apology, no reasons, no softening. There was a pause. Her heart was pounding. She waited for the hurt, the pushback, the cold withdrawal she had always feared would come when she finally said no without explanation. And then her friend said, "Okay, no problem." Clara didn't move for a moment. That was it. No anger, no withdrawal, no wounded silence. Just okay. She walked home in a kind of daze. She had spent years afraid of that moment. The reality of it was ordinary, quiet, almost nothing. I realized, she told me later, that most of the explaining I did was for me, not for them. I was trying to manage my own fear. They didn't need the explanation. I thought I did. She told me more. She said that after the phone call, after the simple okay, no problem, she felt something she hadn't expected. Not relief, exactly, though there was some of that. Something more precise than relief. Dignity. I hadn't apologized. I hadn't given 17 reasons. I just said no. And the friendship survived. And I felt she paused to find the word taller. That word stayed with me. Taller. When we over-explain, we often shrink. We bend ourselves into the shape that will be easiest for someone else to accept. We make ourselves smaller, pre-apologetic, already defeated before anyone has said anything critical. We fold up to fit. But when we speak simply, "No, I've decided. That's not something I want to do," and we say it without a runway of apologies before it and a trail of reassurances after, something in us stands up straighter. We are not asking permission. We are stating a truth. And there is a quality to that, quiet and undramatic, but real, that over-explanation never quite reaches. Clara said she started practicing it in smaller situations after that. Ordering what she actually wanted at a restaurant without explaining the choice. Leaving a social event when she was ready, instead of waiting for a natural exit she could justify. Each time, the world received it without disaster. And each time she felt it, that slight shift in how she was standing. Taller. I want to say a few things clearly. You are allowed to change your mind without explaining every step of the journey from yes to no. A yes made yesterday does not sentence you. People change their minds. This is allowed. You are allowed to say no to something you said yes to before, without losing your right to say yes in the future. Changing one decision doesn't mean your word means nothing. It means you are a person responding to real circumstances in real time. You are allowed to leave a conversation, a room, a situation when it no longer serves you. You don't need a paragraph explaining why. "I need to go" is complete. You are allowed to make choices that don't make sense to other people. They are living their life, not yours. They don't have all the information. They are not inside your experience and your history. What looks inexplicable from the outside may be the most sensible thing in the world from where you're standing. And this is important. Some people will not be satisfied by any explanation you give. For those people, no explanation will ever be enough. They have a preformed opinion, and your words are not going to change it. Choosing who deserves your explanations is itself a form of self-respect. Not everyone who asks gets access. Here is something to try this week. Just notice how often you add explanations that weren't asked for. Not to judge yourself, just to see the habit clearly. You can't change what you can't see. So start by simply watching. Notice the "I was going to, but when I can't make it" would have been enough. Notice the "I know you probably think" when no one has said anything of the sort. You've already had the imaginary argument in your head, and you're trying to prevent it. Notice the apologetic opener that arrives before your actual request. "I'm sorry to bother you," but said before anyone indicated they were bothered. Just notice, and then in one situation, just one, try the simpler version. Not "I can't come to the dinner. I'm so sorry. I've just been really overwhelmed lately. And I know it's the third time I've canceled, and I feel terrible about it. And I really do want to see everyone. It's just that. Just, I can't make it this time. I hope it's a wonderful evening." One sentence, full stop, then silence. Wait and see what happens. Most of the time, the world receives it. The friendship survives. The person says, "That's okay next time." And you realize the entire elaborate construction you would normally build, none of it was necessary. And you will have proven something to yourself, quietly, in this small moment. You are enough without the explanation. You are not on trial. I want to say that again, slowly. You are not on trial. Your life is not a case you need to build. Your choices are not evidence that must be submitted and approved by some external authority before they're allowed to exist. You do not need to convince anyone of your goodness with every decision you make about how to live. And yet, how often does it feel that way? How often do you find yourself composing explanations before they're requested, building defenses against judgments that haven't arrived, editing your words so carefully that by the time you speak, you've already forgotten what you actually wanted to say? I see that. I recognize it. Here is what I want to offer. The people who truly love you don't need the explanation. They already trust you. They trust that you have reasons, even when those reasons stay private. They do not require access to your interior reasoning to accept your choices. And the people who judge you, they will judge you anyway. The explanation was never really for them. It was for you. You built it to manage your own fear, to shrink preemptively, to arrive at the conversation already apologizing. So when the urge to over-explain rises, and it will, it's an old habit. Try something small. Pause, take a breath, ask yourself, am I explaining because they need this, or because I'm afraid? If you're afraid, you can still speak. You are allowed to speak through the fear. Just speak more simply. Say what is true. Say as much as is genuinely needed for understanding. And then stop. Leave the silence. Let it stand. You and your choices are allowed to take up space in this world without filling every gap with apology, without earning your right to exist in each conversation. You are enough without the explanation. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight. This is English with Moon, a slow, thoughtful place for your English and your heart. I'd love to know, is there something you've been over-explaining lately? You don't have to say what it is. Just tell me, how would it feel to say less? Leave me a comment. I read every one of them. A new episode arrives soon. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, the moon doesn't explain its shape on any given night. Neither do you have to. Good night, friends.